apologies for the delay. Good morning. The streaming software wouldn't load, just kept like freezing and then crashing. But we're there now, which is the most important thing. I hope everyone's all good. I hope everyone's had a decent week so far. Obviously, it's been a little bit topsy-turvy with Monday being a bank holiday and causing some erratic moves, and then obviously us coming into Tuesday seeing those corrections. Yesterday was very much just a case of profit takes, I feel. And then we'll see what today brings. I want to start with Pound New Zealand actually. Pound New Zealand is a trade that I'm currently active in, and so should a lot of people be. It was sent out as part of the trade plan group. It's also something that I called and said to look for within a lot of my other groups too. So with Pound New Zealand, obviously what we've now started to see as well is this head and shoulders formation. We're starting to break through the neckline here at 95.60 or 95.50, which is obviously a key area. What we were more looking for was obviously that return to 80. We didn't quite find that, we came to 70, but the pushback retested the area of breakout that we had seen previously, and then obviously a sell-off from there. We had seen that, and my advice and my positioning was to get involved in the potential short positions from the highs, but if not from the break of 96. Obviously, we've seen a pushback up, came to about 96.20 last night before rolling over and obviously heading back down towards the 50 level now. We're obviously seeing some support hold at this region as things stand at the moment, but it's nothing that we shouldn't be able to get through as things stand at the moment. I think my computer's frozen again. There we go. So we've obviously got our left shoulder, our head, and then obviously our potential right shoulder kind of encapsulating this whole situation. But we know the need to get below this 50 region. Once we can break below the 50 region and get below the support level, then obviously we would have the potential for a position. Also, for those that are in it from 196, we can look to continue that down and potentially add another entry at that 50 level once the support has been broken. If you want to put a pending order, I would go as low as 95.40 as a potential area to place my sell stop as things stood. Coming out to the daily time frame, obviously we're starting to see big signs that this push back to 194.20 is obviously of high probability for us at the moment. So we're rejecting away from the previous resistance at 198. We've now broken through the support at 196. The only logical place for this to now return to is down to 194.20 or 194.50, somewhere around that region. So it's just a case of holding our nerves now, sitting tight and letting that play out. If you're already in from 96, then there's nothing more than you can do now. Potentially look to add at 95. You can potentially look to add at 95.40. But until those are taken out now, it's just a case of sitting tight. Pound CAD, similar situation. Obviously, we had seen some pretty big movements yesterday, but we are currently trading around the support region at 73.50. This support region at 73.50 is going to be very important to us, not to mention the fact that we have started to see lower highs and lower lows creep into the pair. We've now taken out previous lows, created a lower high. The ideal area to create a new lower high, if we were to see a fresh swing, would be this 73.50 region that we are currently trading around. Rejection away from 73.50 would lead us definitely into the lows at 73. However, it is that needs to go. So we can already look to the left through here and see the amount of support that we've got through this region. There's no secret that 73 needs to be taken out for us to want to continue to focus primarily on the downside movement here. With that being said, that doesn't seem overly too difficult of a task ahead of us. So if we break through, then obviously we can take that position. Regarding possible longs and flipping that bias altogether, above 74 I think is the likely area that we're going to get some form of solid confirmation that we should be looking to do that. Around 73.80 and that area as things stand at the moment, there doesn't seem to be a great deal to stop us. I think we should probably wait primarily for 174. Then once that's taken out, obviously we can see where we go from there. Also, I'm aware that pound yen has made some strides. I've been triggered in from 151. I believe, I'm just going to double check though. Yeah, so I've been triggered in from 151, which is fine. I've also just been triggered into yeah, which is absolutely fine. So I'm involved at the moment. Obviously, we've broken through the support region. We're likely to come back and retest that area and just see some consolidation through this morning. But we'll see where price heads to. If we can get back below 50.50 or 50.60, that kind of region, anywhere in this little zone below, then obviously we should see a pretty sharp return back to the whole number, so 150. And then anywhere around there. The thing that puts me off here, obviously that drive to the upside. What we would more be better suited focusing on is where we could potentially see an area for a fresh swing to be made. And as things stand at the moment, you've got 49.50. Or what we are likely, or what we could be likely to see, is somewhere around this region at the whole number. So we need to be very mindful and very cautious of how ugly my charts look there. But we do need to be very mindful of these two little zones and this little area. I think what I'll probably just do is box that off. I don't like having so many levels and lines. But we'll box that little 50 pip window off because that's likely to be where we're going to see some form of reaction if we are going to see it. For those obviously looking for entries now, 150.50 is the next possible area that you can look to enter the pair. Coming to the Euro USD, daily looks fantastic for that push away from 118.80 that we're currently retesting at the moment. If we go out and have a look, daily time frame, lovely rejection away from 119, pushing to the downside. If obviously we can take out yesterday's lows, somewhere around where 118.50, then obviously we would have the potential for a position there. So if you're not involved or you're looking to get involved in Euro USD, I would say 118.50 breaks the consolidation zone and should see us drop comfortably at least back to 18. And then obviously from there we can either bank the profit or look to hold back down into 117.50. There's definitely potential within the pair. And obviously the higher time frames are kind of depicting and saying that we are very now likely to see this act as a lower high and therefore a run to the lower lows. Therefore, we could be potentially about to see the next leg and run of this pair into 116.20. Until 119.50 is taken out, I'm not really interested in focusing on the potential longs. It doesn't really make much sense at that point until that level is taken out. For all the time that we're trading around 118.80, I very much looking towards that potential downside drop and that drive into 17.50, 17, and then obviously 16.50, 16.20, that kind of area. So as things stand, that's where focus will be. Euro CAD, starting to see a sell-off from 150.40, almost a retest of the support region and breakout that we had seen at 150.50. We're now starting to see some pretty steady movement come back into the pair. Obviously, if we were to take out the previous lows, we'd very much anticipate a drive back into 148. Again, if we come out to the daily rejection looks incredible. So much selling pressure. What we do need to be mindful though is obviously the 4 hours and the fact that we have created this new high. We've popped back, we've created a new high. A push back into somewhere around about 149 makes a lot of sense for the pair before potentially seeing 150.50 retested. So obviously, naturally, with 150.50 being such a key level for the pair previously, we'll probably have to go to 4 hours to see it properly. With 150.50 being such a key area for the level previously all the way through, that if that is taken out and we break back above, then we do need to be extremely mindful of that and potentially look for the long trades above. Even if you were to get through 150.50, the chances are you're going to come back and find 152 quite comfortably. So there's a lot on the table. It's not something to discount and completely write off. There is definitely large potential within the pair. Anywhere below 149.50, I would look to short down to 149, 148. And then obviously above 150.50, we can look for potential long positions up to 152. Dollar Swiss. Kind of expecting to see the dollar gain a little bit of strength today. And a little resurgence. Obviously, we saw a little bit around the FOMAC meeting last night. There was some Swiss fundamentals out, so we've also seen like their trade balance for the Swiss. But everyone's trade balance at the moment is terrible. But very much expecting some of this ground at some point to be regained. So back up towards 93.50, somewhere around that area. As things stand at the moment, obviously, we would need to get back above, back above 93. That holds the keys to any potential long here. Obviously, if we can take out the lows again at 92.60, 92.70, then we'll head back down and look towards potential trades into 92. I don't mean there's too much need to spend too much time surrounding this pair at the moment. Something that we can quickly move on from. However, one thing I do want to just go through very quickly is dollar CAD. When it wants to load. Dollar CAD, you can see that we're trading currently around a key level at 126 and 126.80. We've started to reject away from previous support region and resistance zone, so there's the potential for that to head back towards the upside. With obviously what we're seeing at the moment with current price action, there's nothing to suggest that you can see that's that perfect swing. If you were going to come back and retest, that's the area you go from. However, at the moment, I wouldn't be comfortable entering a position until 126.30 was taken out. And then obviously looking from 126.30 to 127.20. But there's a lot of potential around dollar CAD this morning, so keep an eye on that. I feel like the move may be progressing. Obviously, it would have been nice to catch the entry from 25.80, but I'd already missed that this morning, so it kind of is what it is, but it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Naturally as well, obviously, there's potentials to short below that level at 125.80 also. I'm just going to put that back to pound New Zealand because that's the position that I'm currently in. New Zealand dollar, we're starting to see the dollar gain some strength against New Zealand. We're seeing like little drives and little spells in the pair, but ultimately everything's still hinging around this little area. We're seeing quite a lot of liquidity and quite a lot of volume in this area. So what I would potentially look to see now is a break below the whole number for a drive back into 69.50. Obviously, for those that have read newsletters, etc., then you'll know that below 69.40 is where the real fun starts. That's where we start to get the proper drives and proper moves from. But as things stand at the moment, I do prefer the downside on the pair. That's not to discount the position that we're in Pound New Zealand. It's just to say that there is potential there. Euro dollar we've covered. Euro Oz I just want to cover lastly. We've got this region at 155.50. 155.50 at the moment, it seems to be a very, very key level for the pair. We've come back and retested that after the test of 156. I know some will be involved in that. We were looking for that retest following the drop. With regards to this position at the moment and where we potentially may head to and where we potentially might go, obviously there's a few deciding factors. At the moment, I feel like a push back into 55.70, 55.80 looks to be quite a possible thing and quite a plausible movement. We're seeing obviously quite a bit of momentum coming to the pair this morning. A similar situation as to what we were seeing yesterday morning. Also, we're starting to see quite a bit of movement and momentum come in. So there is nothing to suggest that this doesn't just break 156 and we see the longs to the upside. As things stand at the moment, obviously, push back into kind of 55.80 would be stomachable. We would look to then short away from there potentially. Definitely the breaks back below 55.50. We just need to see how things close, kind of discount the moves that we see around 8, half 8, and that we see between 9, half 9. It's not until 10 o'clock that we start to see markets settle in some real direction. But shorts below 55.50 make a lot of sense back into 154. Longs above 156 make a lot of sense back up to 158. For all the time that we're just chilling around, we're just sat in a kind of no man's land and we need to be very mindful. But we can see obviously that swing and that rejection away is typical of what we would want to see for potential new highs and higher low to be formed and that push to the upside. So we let it do its thing, see what happens, and see whether the momentum can be carried. If not, then obviously I think it will be quite a sharp drop into 154. Gold. We saw the break above yesterday. We were talking about the potential for positions above 45. We're kind of trading around that region at the moment, but we look to be potentially rejecting from it. When we're rejecting from a level like this at the moment, there is no position to take until 117.40 is taken out now. If we take out 117.40, you've got a potential position, but even then it's probably only likely going to be probably 60, maybe 70 pips into the kind of 17.31 region, and then obviously we can potentially trade away from there. But until really and truly like 17.25 or 17.20 is taken out, there's not really a short now. Focus and attention would be towards the longs. I'm trying to gain a quick entry or a better entry or an earlier entry on this pair from 17.40 would just be illogical really. It moves so fast and respects its level so well that I would be more intrigued at the moment of the longs above 17.45 or shorts below 17.20. But yeah, that's kind of a little recap on this morning, the positions that we're in, what we're potentially looking for and what we could potentially be seeing. I think Euro USD, Euro Oz, Pound New Zealand present quite a lot of potential. Dollar Swiss, I do quite like the fact that we could break back above 93. That would be big for the pair. New Zealand dollar, again below the whole number, looks like a likely run, and that could open up a good couple of weeks worth of positions. So there's potentials. We just need to be a little bit mindful, a little bit careful, and kind of see where we progress to throughout today. Whatever you're up to, have a decent day. Be sensible, be safe, and I'll catch up with everyone